and welcome to North American Ag Spotlight. Our guest today is part of an incredible mental health initiative based out of Listowel, Ontario, called the Farmers Toolbox. I'd like to welcome you, Stephanie Robertson.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me. So where did the idea come from for the Farmers Toolbox, and what was the driving force behind this initiative?
So in the summer of 2018, our Listowel Fair Ambassador Program was granted a community sponsorship through the Royal Bank of Canada's funds. So they wanted us to put on an event or a program that was in our community, had youth involved, which echoes what our ambassador program is about. So with that, our ambassador committee met and decided that we wanted to what we wanted to do with the money, and kind of a dinner on the street with a fundraiser for mental health stuck with us. That was something that each of us was behind and encouraged by what we could do with the money. So that was a big thing. We then took it within our Ag Society to the board to get their approval, because obviously we were a committee, but we needed our full board approval. So the board was 110% on it. So we planned it for the summer of 2019, which is June, is the month we did it in. We went to our local municipality, told them kind of our ideas behind it. It was just kind of like a groundbreaking thing at the moment, and said, we want to do this dinner on the street. We want to raise money for mental health within agriculture specifically and for our community. And 110% they were behind it. So we announced it to the public at one of our fundraising auctions that fall, and auctioned off a VIP table and sold like crazy. People at that point were just trusting in our ideas, right? They didn't know what the grand scheme of things would be. So it was really encouraging to us as a committee and an Ag Society to have people support when, it was a fresh idea and something that we hadn't done before. So they were trusting with our thoughts and what we had planned for it. So, and within our Ag Society, obviously agriculture, the committee and our Ag Society is all involved in agriculture, whether it's, their profession, they are in that community, right? They work in that profession, whatnot. So mental health and ag was definitely something we wanted to focus on, right? Because, you have friends and family and yourselves that see the struggles that farmers take on, and wanted to find some way to break the stigma, right? To get more people talking about it and make it aware that it is okay to talk about. So that was probably one of the big driving forces. We wanted to bring awareness to the issues. So.
Right, that's incredible. So there are countless resources on the site. Where should someone start looking for help?
Yes, so within the money that we raised over $13,000 from the event through sponsorship and tickets. So one of our initiatives was a mental health website. And so they can find that website at www.thefarmerstoolbox.com. So on that website is a tremendous list of resources that committee members went through, researched, made sure they were active, what they were all about, and really did their homework on them to make sure that they were active and useful resources. So the members did a great job on that. And on that website, so there's local stuff to us in Listowel as well as Canadian wide. So it's not just limited to people in our community that can use it, it's straight across the board, right? And it's whether it's websites, phone numbers, what that resource essentially does, if it's focused in agriculture, if it's focused in Perth County or Wellington County, whatnot. So the website is a great resource. And like I said, a lot of work went into that. So we hope people will be able to use it and find something that will help them if they're struggling.
Yeah. The in the initiative section, there's a section on mental health first aid courses. Can you tell me about that?
Yep. So last January, which seems like so long ago now, we ran two first aid courses, and they were subsidized. So half the fee was covered through our Dinner on Tremaine proceeds, and half it the individuals paid. It was a 2-day course, and it specifically focuses on first aid in mental health. So, what the triggers are and how you can help someone that is struggling. And the courses were very well received. So we're looking at running a few more. They'll most likely be virtual in 2021, but people that took it had rave reviews of it, and it was a local instructor that did it, and did a fantastic job with it. And it's a great resource to be able to take as an individual that's farming, or as a business if you wanted to send people to it, right? It was open to anyone, and 25 people took it each class. We were limited, but we are looking, like I said, to run it again because it was very well received.
Yeah, that's great. Good to have that in your toolbox when you're dealing with people, and not even just an ag, just generally to have those kind of tools in your toolbox, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So the issue is really dear to my heart. My own dad was diagnosed with manic depression when I was in my late teens, and we were lucky to have help at that time, but it was not always easy to find back then. And I know my dad really suffered from the embarrassment of needing help as a strong, hardworking man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we've started removing the stigma of asking for help?
I think the conversation has started, and I think that's one of the big things, right? People talk about it and they know that it's okay to talk about, that it's not something you have to be ashamed of, and more people are going through it than you feel probably, right? That are. Another initiative we did was we created 2 videos. So it was local farmers talking about, maybe their personal struggles with mental health and agriculture, and how they went through that process of trying to overcome it. So that's a great resource as well. Just to hear your fellow farmers or somebody that's, in your same profession that you can relate to, right? That was a big goal with that. So I think as long as people talk about it, it's definitely going in the right direction. There's always going to be mental health in our lives. I don't think we'll ever get away that there isn't, but talking about it does make it more open, and having the conversations are very important.
Right. Yeah. Very important. So 1 in 3 Canadian farmers struggle with mental health. And in a US study done in 2017, it was reported that male farmers in the US are at higher risk of suicide compared to the general population. Why do you think this is?
I don't know if it's males versus females, but I think it just goes back to that. Maybe how they were brought up. They were brought up not to speak about their problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that's male and female, right? We have males that don't want to speak about their problems, I'm sure, and the same thing with females, right? They don't want to admit that there's a problem, but I think in general, we just all need to be more open and honest with each other, and whether it's, calling one of the helplines, or going to a website to find those resources, or going to a friend or a neighbor that you feel that you can trust, that you can talk to say, I need someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they're not going to give you the advice, maybe that this is what you should do and this is what you need to do, but this is maybe what I would suggest. And this is maybe my own experiences, right? Because having that conversation might open up that I was in that same scenario 6 months ago, right? I know exactly how you're feeling. This is what I did to overcome it, or get out of kind of your struggles at the moment. So.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So you're a passionate advocate for mental health in agriculture. Tell me about how you developed the desire to serve the industry in this way.
So I got on the Ag Society in general through our ambassador program as well. So I've been on now for about 10 years. So I'm invested in our Ag Society and in our individuals in our community, and that. So I don't want to see someone struggling and not have the resources or know where to get to the resources, right? So that was big within our community. Everyone supported this project, and our committee, all of our, collective thoughts we're all involved in agriculture, no matter where we are, if that's our profession or we work on it, right? We need to farmers talk to farmers, right? So that kind of mentality, I guess you'd say. And we just wanted to, when you go to look for resources, there's not a lot out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the last thing you want, in my opinion, someone to do is, if they're struggling and they want to talk to somebody, they don't want to call up a number not be able to find the correct resource for what they're dealing with, and call somewhere that, doesn't know about their profession. And, you don't want something to be a trigger for that. Right. So I think trying to find resources that fit the agriculture sector, mm-hmm. and that people could relate to is big for our committee, just having relatable services that would be useful for people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thanks so much for joining me. It was great to learn more about the Farmers Toolbox. And if anyone's interested in learning more, you can also head on over to northamericanag.com/wellness. And you can also find the link to their site in the show notes below. So thank you again, Stephanie, and best of luck with everything that you're doing.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having us and bringing awareness and knowledge to the Farmers Toolbox. We appreciate it.
So thanks. Goodbye.